in the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you were with us or you were with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals. Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
It's not going to work here. It might have worked in Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Communist China, where people had come from basically peasant classes that were always feudal serfs and used to following orders. Our ancestors came here to this republic. They weren't perfect because they didn't want to be slaves. They came here because they wanted to be free. And the tyranny of the New World Order is not going to work. But I remember reading Council on Foreign Relations publications from 20 years ago, going to the library before the internet was as prolific as it is now in the mid-90s and reading where they said, we're going to transfer all the jobs to China. We're going to give them the entire infrastructure because the Communist Party knows how to work with us. This is the big banks. And we're going to use that to leverage America and have them buy our debt and hold our industry. And we're going to basically move the center of world power to China. And they put out publications like the 21st century will be the Chinese century. You mean the communist... Foxcom, Apple, Suicide Net, slave labor, robots replacing humans, 7,000 riots a month in China. I stand with the Chinese people from Tiananmen Square and now. They're great people. They hate their filthy government. It's the Communist Chinese Party, 1 million people out of 1.3 billion that the globalists are working with using their people as slaves and using those slaves to turn us into slaves, leveraging us in the market. That's not a free market. And I'm reading this Forbes article. I didn't get to where it says China now calls the shots and Forbes magazine calls for China to drop the hammer on the Tea Party. Let me tell you something, Forbes. See, it's the blue blood Republicans that came up with all this. Nixon going to China and all that crud. I have had it with you people. The Chinese people are going to take their country back. We're going to take our country back. And how, look at this. It is sometimes suggested that by triggering a sell-off, creditor nations would be cutting their own throats. Actually, this is characteristically myopic Western way of looking at things, a view that completely misunderstands how things have changed and that East Asia calls the tune. The point is that the creditor nations are long-term holders who are largely indifferent to short-term fluctuations. And it goes on and says the Chinese need to tell us what to do. You mean the communist? That our government in 49 put into power, now declassified. Our government put Mao in, and he killed 80 million people plus. Our criminal banker government, the CFR, put him in on record, declassified. John Birch Society said that back in the 50s, declassified 4 or 5 years ago. Our government put Mao Zedong in because our government isn't our government. It's a bunch of foreign, bloodthirsty banks. But the minute we're aware of who they are, it's all over. They lose the moral authority. It's over. So, see, Obamacare is about a foreign takeover, a globalist takeover of America. And it makes me sick. So get this straight. The Republican blue bloods are calling for the Chi-Coms to drop the hammer on us. And that's what they're saying. Notice Obama's saying, you do this, you're going to hurt our credit. You do this, they may plunge the stock market next week. Just like they did in 2008 in October to get too big to fail through to rip everybody off. See how they hold us hostage? Henry Paulson, the Secretary of the Treasury, went to Congress in closed-door session. We broke it here with a congressman. And they said there'll be blood in the streets and tanks in the streets. Oh, you notice they already pre-deployed all the tanks. I have that out of the Dallas Morning News and armored vehicles. They're already ready for us. If we don't play ball, they'll just turn the economy off. Well, here, we'll just turn you off politically, knowing you're behind it. Because this only works, you kleptocratic con men scum, if no one knows that you didn't do it. But we've all put the message out that you're behind it. So you go ahead, we'll take our licks, you take yours. I'm ready to take my licks. I'm right up front in your face. I know who you are, and I'm exposing you. You got it? And the Pentagon's awake, and the police are waking up, and everybody knows you're the ones. You notice you have a 9% approval rating for a Syria war. Congress has a 9% approval rating. Government has 17% trust with the public. You're not going to do some government shutdown and hammer the stock market, like you've done before now. Everybody is waking up that knows how to tie their shoelaces, and they know you're the enemy. They know the globalists are a corporate crime syndicate leveraging all these other groups of tyrants like the communist Chinese against us, and we're done. Obama this year, in January, hired the communist head of the French economic system, this, I forget her name, female economist, to come over here to communize and communitarianize America. That's a quote. I mean, how dumb do they think you are? They're going to wreck the country if we don't give them what they want, and that just wrecks it slower. They're going to strangle us. They're like, look, I'll strangle you really fast if you don't give in and let me strangle you really slow. I'd like to strangle you really slow. I'm a psychopath. I like to torture you over several weeks. But if you don't let me, I'll kill you right now. Well, you know what? Kill us right now, then. But instead of you just putting your hands around our throat, whoa, we have hands too. How do you like that politically? We're going to stomp your head in. We're not even going to use our hands. We're going to get you on the ground politically, and you are never going to get up, you big fat bullies. Just like in the famous spaghetti western, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Tuco says, oh, you like it when I'm in handcuffs and you're stomping on me and beating me up. But big guys, you ever get down on the ground, you're never going to get back up. You understand that? And let me tell you something. The spirit of liberty is rising. This country isn't Russia. It's not China. It's not other places where you had peasant classes before that never had freedom. We've had a taste of it, and it ain't going to be a cakewalk, you bastards. We got 400 million guns. You got that through your brain? And, oh, I know. Hey, I'm not going to start anything. You're going to blow stuff up and blame it on us. I got that. The point is, we're not going to your Gulag archipelago. We're not going to wait there cowering in fear. You got your homeland and all this other crud. Homeland Security, people. The Capitol SWAT team told us about the stand down before the BBC. Of course, we didn't read the email till the next day, but, your own Capitol SWAT team listens to InfoWars. You really think you're going to pull this whole thing off? You're done. We blew your operation, you bastards. You can take me out all day long, but see, you can't beat me because I'm committed. We've already blown your operation. You are blown. Oklahoma City is blown. Your fact that you run Al-Qaeda is blown. The fact that you run, I hear talk radio everywhere sounding just like this show, but on lithium. Calmly up there saying this. It's out. It's over. The truth's out. Genie's out of the bottle. Nothing's going to save you. Nothing's going to help you. It's over. You might as well give up now and back off and keep all the stuff you've stolen and run to Switzerland. Or you can push it, and I know you will push it, just like King George III and everybody else. But this time, you're not going to get to sit over there overseas when it's all over. Long after I'm deep in my grave and millions of others are, we are going to hunt you down and bring you to justice before grand juries and juries, just like Nuremberg. And you know what's going to happen in Nuremberg, too, to all the bankers and the New World Order heads that did this. You are going to be brought to justice. Do you understand? And, folks, I'm not just up here putting this out as positive cheerleader talk. I'm not up here just saying all this because it's what I want to say and what I want to believe. I know it historically. I know it in my gut. I know it intellectually. I know it spiritually. If humanity decides to resist you, it's over for you. And this Agenda 21, making us all poor, screw job is not going to fly with the American people. Not with the military, not with the police, not with your bureaucrats, not with your executives. Nobody wants to become impoverished serfs to a bunch of criminals. But here's the deal. You saw Greece, you saw Portugal, you saw these other countries. They hold them hostage. This is what they do in third world countries like Mexico. We're going to cut the water off if you don't accept higher taxes. That's all government shutdown is. It's totally staged. They say it's going to save our credit while they're deliberately wrecking it. This is how they conquer you, is economically. This is globalism. This is New World Order. Admit we were right. Admit Ron Paul was right. Become an American. Become a patriot. Wake up. We can stop these people. But you've got to admit we're under attack to do it.